Hey guys, Furum here, and today I'm going to be testing the McLaren X2 in multiplayer in Asphalt 8 for the second time. Previously, it was at a rank of 1679. Since then, I have upgraded it a little bit to 1697 with a tuning of 10.0.10.5. And since they fixed the skidding on this car in the most recent update, it is now a very formidable multiplayer competitor. There are a few reasons I really like this tuning. One is because it is still below 1700 to give better matchmaking, and when you risk points, it's just as if you're at 1679. Also, the acceleration on this tune is faster than most Apollos you will find, so that is another bonus. This car just handles so extremely well. Its drifting isn't especially great, but it's still quite good. However, you can get around a lot of turns without drifting. Ones like the Azure Coast ones, of course, you still have to drift around, but a lot of ones you don't. Its handling is still not as good as the Biomes, though, which, by the way, still skids. I don't know why they didn't fix the skidding on that car, since it is, I believe, the earliest skiddy car. Now, the X2 is a very heavy car. You can see that it did not go very high on the flat spin back there, causing us to fall over to the side. That is one thing you have to keep in mind. This car just goes lower on pretty much all ramps. I don't exactly know what it is about it, but that is one thing to keep in mind when you are racing with it. So the second lap passes by with no avail, and we come in first position ahead of another X2 at rank 1659, as well as a bunch of other not-so-great cars. In this race, we have a 1685 Apollo IE, as well as a 1695 or Max Pro R8 e-tron Special Edition. Now, the R8 e-tron SE starts up about the same speed as this car, maybe just slightly faster, at least with our tunes. And so I managed to stay ahead in the beginning because he started behind me. That's one thing I really wish they would take from Asphalt 8 and put it into Asphalt 9, placing players randomly at the beginning of races instead of always putting the lowest rated players in front and always putting the highest rated players in the back. This would give a lot more variety to multiplayer and make it so that the people with higher rating wouldn't always have to fight past everybody with lower rating in order to get first, because that could lead to a random 360, which has happened a lot of the time, causing them to lose a bunch of points, all because they always started in last. And placing them randomly means that people with lower rating wouldn't always get placed in the front, which might allow them to avoid getting knocked down by some of the faster cars. So that is one little technical change I think they could really make to Asphalt 9 to make multiplayer a lot more fun for everyone. So in this race, we beat that R8 SE, who disconnected after he wrecked on that jump. It's never a good idea to do risky things in multiplayer because he probably tried to barrel roll off to the right of it, which works like half the time. Not something you want to do in multiplayer. So in this race, I do not take the corner quite sharply enough. I a bit overestimated this car's handling ability, and I'm put back into second position because of a wreck. However, you will see that not all hope is lost. So let's talk a little bit about the future of this game, Asphalt 8. Gameloft said they would continue to update it throughout this year and through next year as well, but after that, we don't really know for sure. Now, the previous update, the one that contained 3 cars, the Pista, the i30, and the Mercedes AMG Coupe copy thingy, whatever it's called, that was released around Halloween. Now, there are usually 2 months or so between updates, and 2 months after Halloween is Christmas, so it only makes sense that they would release a Christmas update next, hopefully coming with the Transylvania track, which was teased multiple updates back. Now, the Pimp My Track contest closed a couple weeks ago, I believe it was. It was a contest where Gameloft asked people to submit art for a statue that was going to be added to the Transylvania track. Now that a picture has been chosen, there really isn't anything else seemingly in the way of that track coming out. So we can probably expect it in the Christmas update, considering how long it's been already, but I will definitely let you guys know anything more I hear about the next update, because as of now, I know nothing about it. And even though I will at some point probably quit Asphalt 8 for the most part, I will still make the update videos so you guys don't have to worry about those going away at any time. And again, for those of you who haven't heard it in previous videos, I will not quit this game until I get at least 200 cars. I currently have 195, so that's at least another update's worth of cars and multiplayer videos with them, and I still am planning to make my final SE Showdown video. Now in Asphalt 9, there's definitely something coming coming up. Earlier today, I believe it was, Gameloft released a picture saying that there was going to be a new kind of multiplayer, and in that picture, there was what looked like a blue speed booster or something on the ground, kind of like you see in Need for Speed No Limits to gain nitro. So that should be interesting. So that X2 back there wrecked near the very end of the race. I was catching up to him, but I don't know if I would have passed him before the finish line. Thankfully, he did make mistakes, so we come in first position. My car at this rank goes around 307, 308-ish miles per hour, I believe. But wait, there was more to that image. Something else in the image that has already begun is the Advent Calendar events, which will run from December 1st to December 25th, leading up to Christmas, so presumably 25 events. But then there was a part of the image that said the best surprise ever, and there were 3 cars that were covered up, so I can assume that in the next update, along with the nerfs and buffs to some of the cars, we will be getting 3 new cars, because that image also did say new cars. And lastly, it said there will be holiday cups in December and January, presumably for Christmas and New Year's. The beginning date for the new kind of multiplayer series is December 17th, so we can probably expect a new Asphalt 9 update by then, and we can also probably expect a new Asphalt 8 update sometime around then. So December should be quite an interesting month for both games, with a lot of new stuff hopefully in the works. So in my testing of this car, I recorded probably a couple dozen races, and I tried to find the ones that had the most competition in them to be the most interesting ones, because at least a dozen of them just had stuff like Zondas and Berlinettas and stuff like that. And the very fact that this one got in the video, even though there wasn't a whole lot of competition there were a couple R8 SEs, but they weren't anywhere close to me, just goes to show that the competition in Asphalt 8 is severely lessened. However, this race here was probably one of the most competitive ones that I played in, with an R8 SE, an SLK SE, which is not going to do well on this track, and an Apollo IE. Now, one reason I might not have been getting a whole lot of big competition was because my rating was lower than it has been in the past. It was around 1800 or so still when I recorded these, so that wasn't too low. But I just think there are fewer people trying really hard to get to higher leagues since Asphalt 9 is out and that game is in the spotlight now. However, Asphalt 8 still remains probably the most beloved game of the Asphalt series. More people have played it, definitely by a long shot, than any other game in the series so far. Asphalt 9 may surpass it, who knows, but for now, Asphalt 8 is the general most popular game that the series has had. So we come in first in this race with that Apollo not too far behind us. He was at 1704, and that SLK is coming in last, even losing to the SLS AMG Coupe, which is a little surprising. In this race, our main competition was a 1667 Sin R1, but the main reason I decided to put it in the video for sure was because of something really weird that happens later in the race. Now hopefully you will have noticed throughout this video that this car has not skidded one time. Yes, not even once did it skid throughout my entire testing. So this begs the question, why was skidding added to begin with? Is it just a side effect of some other code, or is it something that they put in the game on purpose? Now, I don't know why they would put skidding in the game on purpose, so I can only assume it's a side effect of something else, but we don't really know for sure. And apparently they figured out a way, finally, to stop it from happening. But then why does the biome still skid? There are sure a lot of unanswered questions about skidding. So here comes the weird part. So I'm just cruising along like normal, and BAM! My car literally randomly explodes on the road, sending me down into space below the map. That sounds kind of weird, but yeah, that happened. Thankfully, I still managed to come in first, ahead of that Sin R1 who came in second place, but that is just one of the weirdest things that's ever happened to me. That also happened to me on Barcelona a couple times when I've gone down to the left there, and for some reason it seems like the fact that there's a ramp just before where you drop down somehow makes you explode and causes that exact same thing to happen. I don't know, it's really weird. But now we move on to the final race of the video, which is a very close battle between me and this Apollo IE, as well as a Vulcan, who is like 100 underranked, at least compared to me and that Apollo IE. So yeah, matchmaking really does get a lot better when you risk points. So now it's time for my general review of this car. It is currently the king of the game at Max Pro, and when multiplayer tuned, I would say it's just slightly worse than the Apollo, but as you can see in these races, it can certainly do quite well against them. And at this rank, with this tuning, it can do very well. It's probably the second best multiplayer car at this rank. So with that Apollo right on our tail, we pull out the victory. Thank you for watching. Please like the video if you've enjoyed, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt 8 and 9 content, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye!